Hey queens, I'm going to show you how to make a U-part wig with your favorite bundles that you either just purchased or some that you found in your hair stash. This wig is for a new client. She provided 3 bundles of Indian curly hair. It's giving more of a wave, but it's still gorgeous. All right, so let's get started. The very first thing you want to do, and do this while you're making the wig each time you start new thread, is you want to attach it to the cap. This will help prevent your wig from unraveling. We're going to go over some more tips that will help as well. So let me show you how that works again. Just open up the end where the knot is and pull your needle through. See that? Pull it through. And now it's attached to your cap. You're good to go. Do this every single time. Your next tip is if you are using different lengths, so if you have 16, 14, and 12, make sure you start that longest length on the side. That way you have natural layers. Next tip is you want to sew the wefts along the elastic band, along the cap, without going through the elastic. This way, if the wind blows or if you decide to pull the hair back, you will not see the cap. Now, when you start that very first weft, and every time you start a weft, never start at the very end. Start sewing about an inch from the end to the end, and then continue to stitch down your entire track or weft. Now, I like to stitch close together. This is for a client. Now, if this was for myself, I probably wouldn't stitch as close together as I'm doing it now, but just make sure they're close enough so that when you comb or brush your wig, the comb will not snag the thread. That is the worst. So just keep it super neat. It don't have to be super close. Why am I saying super so much? Girl, let's move on. Your next tip is when you notice your thread is running low and it's time to cut it, make sure you have enough thread to stitch back so that you can reinforce the area you're going to cut and it will not unravel later on down the line. So I noticed my thread was running low, so I'm going to stitch back. And then sometimes I also stitch forward. And then after I'm done stitching, after I've gone back and forward, I loop the thread, cut it, and then I also tie a knot. I think I tie at least twice. Here I may have done more because again, this is not for myself, it's for a client. So that's 2, and yep, one more again, 3. And then I cut it. This nylon thread, yes, use a nylon thread. Do not use your basic weaving thread. Nylon thread is smaller and it's a lot stronger. Your next tip is when you fold your wefts back, simply fold them. Do not pull on the cap. So I am doubling at this point. I don't like to double the very first row because sometimes that's where the tangles and the matting can end up. And these wefts were pretty thin, so I did start doubling on the second row. So again, when you fold your wefts over, do not pull, just kindly fold them over. Kindly fold them over. Now, as you see, I am not marking up my cap. You do not have to make guidelines. Like if you've ever done a sew in, quick weave, glued in some tracks, you didn't do that when you're doing those type of styles. So when you're making your wig, there is no point. So just take some pins, map out how you're going to sew them down, and keep it moving. Because if you use those guidelines, for one, what if you do not have enough hair to cover up those lines? And then you have those crazy white lines throughout your cap. Okay, so don't do that. When you get to the other side, sew past where you started. Now you could go ahead and go all the way up the cap, but I like to just ease my way up to the front of the cap. So always stitch past where you started, making sure you sew along that cap without going through the elastic band. Only go through that material. Ooh, I am giving y'all all the tea. Ain't no gatekeeping over here. All right, so the closer you get to the front of the cap, I would go ahead and cut the wefts. Do not continue to fold the wefts when you get towards the front. If you fold the wefts over towards the front of the wig, sometimes you will have that bulky feeling, and you can see the bulk if you're working with straight hair or wavy hair. So go ahead and cut it. Make sure you reinforce the ends like I'm doing here, and you'll be fine. If you have a small piece like this that you did not stitch down, don't worry about that because you can sew that down once you start on your second row. So y'all see how the back of the cap is a little baggy. If that is an issue for you, if the cap seems like it's going to be too big while working in the back, like this area right here, skip past just a smudge, not too much, because if you make this cap too small, if you do what I'm going to tell you too much, your wig cap can be too tight once you put it on your head. So just pull up a little bit of that cap as you stitch this weft down. Only in the back though. And again, be very careful because if you do this too much, your wig will be too small. And we don't want that. We're doing all of this hard work. We do not want our wig to be too small. And keep in mind your cornrows. If you have a lot of hair or if you know sometimes you're lazy, you don't feel like braiding your hair down, you want to have some room underneath your cap for your hair. Saying all of that reminds me to tell you while you are stitching your wig, pull up only a small amount of the cap. Don't skip past, like don't go up a couple of inches, like only pull the needle. Once you pull the needle underneath the cap, skip past a little of the material. Don't skip past a lot. Does that make any sense? If that does not, leave me a comment below. But if you just go very fast and just go past like an inch or two as you stitch, that's an exaggeration. But if you just keep pulling up a lot of that cap, you're going to make your cap too small. If what I say, I don't know how to explain that without showing you, and I did not get that footage in this tutorial, but I will in the next one. If that makes no sense, let me know and I will make a video. All right, so here is how she's looking so far, y'all. This hair was so pretty, so pretty. And I believe this was all of the 16. And when she wears this wig, she's going to have that longest length going to the side. And it won't look like a long mullet. So make sure you pull, like if you have 18, 16, and 14, make sure you have that 18 coming along the sides. So now I'm just using the last piece of that 16. You want to make sure whatever amount of hair you have on the right side, make sure you have on the left. So this piece was not long enough. This piece was not long enough to go ear to ear. So I'm just going to, or is it? Looks like it is, but just make sure you're dispersing the hair evenly while you're making the wig. So when you stitch the hair onto the right side, when you get to the left, make sure you stop as close as possible to where you started on the right side and vice versa. If you have ever done your own sew and weave, if you've ever done a quick weave or glued in some tracks, making a wig with wefts, sewing it onto a mesh dome cap is the same way, the same exact way. Don't overthink it. And if you want to make it full, just double your wefts. And you want to make sure you install the hair evenly. So where you start on one side and on the other. As you get closer to the top, you may find that you have to just sew some hair onto the cap in the back. Because if you continue to go ear to ear, you're not going to have the shape that you want to create your U. So just make sure you just work your way up to the top so that you can create your U. So here I'm having to put some on the sides, and I'm going to stitch some hair to the other side as well. Now, when you are about to make your U shape, think about how much leave out you plan to have, and also think about how long you want your part to be. So I would actually pull out some measuring tape. So for my client, she wanted to have about 1 inch of leave out, and the caps are flexible, but I still did around 1 inch, and she'll be able to make it wider or close it up if she wants to. And then keep in mind how long that part will be, and just map it all out. And those are your basic tips. Just keep sewing the wefts onto the wig cap. Here is the final look before I co-washed the hair. Y'all, this hair is so gorgeous. Oh, hold on now. See, here are the benefits of sewing along the cap. You cannot see that cap at all. At all. When you use a sewing machine, you can see that cap when you pull the hair back like this. And then in the back, you can't see anything. Look at this. Hold on, I'm going to show you in a minute, girl. Hold on. There you go. See that? When you're using a sewing machine, you have that piece of cap that is exposed. Not the issue when you are making your wig by hand. It takes longer, but girl, it's better. Now, only talking about mesh dome cap wigs. And then I did add combs to the back. She wanted combs in the back. For me, I only like my combs in the front, but since you are making your own wigs, you can add your combs wherever you want. All right. Only thing you have to do now is style your wig the way you want. In another video, I will show you how to do some kind of like, let me know what y'all want to see, what tutorials y'all want to see with wigs, and I got you. But all I did was gave this wig a nice co-wash, went through with my brush, and then just defined the curls or the waves with my hands and let her air dry. One last tip that's very important. I think that's going to get on my nerves. We're going to keep an eye on that. If it does, I just have to fix it. I'll keep y'all posted. If you notice something that could be a problem while you're making your wig, it will be a problem. It will be. So go ahead and fix it. So I felt like that was going to be an issue for my client when she would wear her wig. I could tell it would get on my nerves because it looks like if she covered her wig up with her hair, she would have that one piece of hair underneath her leave out that would look weird and awkward. So I had to fix it. And to do that, I just took that part down, tied off where the thread was cut, and I restitched it, and it looked so much better after I fixed it. So here we go. So that is your final tip in this tutorial. If you notice something that is going like it could possibly be a problem, where it could get on your nerves, it will be a problem and it will get on your nerves. So fix it. All right, and here is the final look. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you would like to provide bundles to have a custom wig made, the link will be below. Love y'all. See you in the next one.